कुंद विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे राधा मदन मोहन की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की श्री श्री गौर निताई की श्रील प्रभुपाद की समावेत गौर भक्त वृंद की कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमावों विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan. So we are reciting from the Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto, 28th chapter, text number 47. Is it 41? Yeah. Oh, we will go ahead. 48 is the one, no? Text number 48. उत्तिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ राजर्षे इमां वदधि मे खलाम् दस्युभ्यः क्षत्रबन्धुभ्यो बिभ्यतीं पातुरमर्हसि। उत्तिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ राजर्षे इमां वदधि मे खलाम् दस्युभ्यः क्षत्रबन्धुभ्यो बिभ्यतीं पातुलमर्हसि पातुमर्हसि। उत्तिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ राजर्षे इमां वदधि मे खलाम् दस्युभ्यः क्षत्रबन्धुभ्यो बिभ्यतीं पातुमर्हसि। उत्तिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ राजर्षे इमां वदधि मे खलाम् उत्तिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ राजर्षे इमां वदति मे कलाम् अस्युभ्य पितृबन्धुभ्यो बिभ्यतिं माताजी उत्तिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ राजर्षे इमां वदति मे खलाम् दस्युभ्यः क्षत्रबन्धुभ्यो उत्तिष्ठ please get up उत्तिष्ठ please get up राजर्षे O saintly king imam this earth udadhi by the ocean me khalam surrounded dasyubhyah from the rogues kshatrabandhubhyah from the unclean kings bibhyatim very much afraid patum to protect arhasi you ought. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. O best of kings, please get up, get up. Just see this world surrounded by water and infested with rogues and so-called kings. This world is very much afraid and it is your duty to protect her. So, this is spoken by Vaidarbi to Malayadvaja, right now? So you all can repeat after me. O best of kings, please get up, get up. Just see this world surrounded by water and infested with rogues and so-called kings. This world is very much afraid and it is your duty to protect her. Purport. Whenever an acharya comes following the superior orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, he establishes the principles of religion as enunciated in the Bhagavad Gita. Religion means abiding by the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Religious principles begin from the time one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the acharya's duty to spread a bona fide religious system and induce everyone to bow down before the Supreme Lord. One executes the religious principles by rendering devotional service, specifically the 9 items like hearing, chanting, and remembering. Unfortunately, when the acharya disappears, the rogues and non-devotees take advantage and immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles in the name of so-called swamis, yogis, philanthropists, welfare workers, and so on. Actually, human life is meant for executing the orders of the Supreme Lord, and this is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yukpaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me and become my devotee. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Lord Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita 9.34 verse. The main business of human society is to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at all times, to become His devotees, to worship the Supreme Lord, and to bow down before Him. The Acharya, the authorized representative of the Supreme Lord, establishes these principles. But when he disappears, things once again become disordered. The perfect disciples of the Acharya try to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of the spiritual master. At the present moment, practically the entire world is afraid of rogues and non-devotees. Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is started to save the world from irreligious principles. Everyone should cooperate with this movement in order to bring about actual peace and happiness in the world. So the world uh, requires faithful devotees of the Lord uh, who are actually acharya. Acharya means one who shows an example. He lives by his example. And you derive a lot of strength from living examples, living, walking, talking scriptures. Like we all adore Anandamaya Prabhu here in this temple. Why? Because uh, for decades, faithfully, he has followed in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. And anybody who comes to temple, many people have come, many have gone, uh, some who have stayed. But somebody who stays uh, for 30, 40, 50, 60 years in life and without giving up the lotus feet of the spiritual master remains loyal all through one's life. So that is a very striking example for everybody that the process works. The process of Krishna consciousness works because unless you have some strong taste, you cannot hold on for a long time. Generally, the jivas, they are pleasure seeking by nature. So just like you put some sugar cubes, ants will come running and surround it. You will see that. Similarly, you give hay to the cows; they are not so interested. But you give gudgola, gudgola is jaggery. All the cows will come running, pushing one another. You can easily see that in this world, we all are attracted to something. The whole world is attracted to glitter and glamour. All the more so in this age of Kali Yuga. Uh, Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Bala Subhadra Maharani ki. So, uh, when the whole world is running in one direction, uh, in a downward spiral, at that time, the devotees of the Lord, having faith in the Lord, walking the right path, uh, it requires great amount of energy to go in the forward direction. And that becomes all the more easy for us when we have living examples. Those who are living and those who are blissfully situated and those who are leading, those who are not only just leading, they are willing to guide. uh. So, first of all, example itself is great. uh. And if somebody is leading from the front like an engine, that is even more wonderful. And somebody is willing to guide the path, say what is right, what is wrong, and to enlighten the people and educate the people, uh, rectify the anomalies, and that is even more great. And if somebody can create a system and a facility and a structure for practicing devotional service, that is not great, that is extraordinary. So if you see in our disciplic line, we have had, after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went back to Godhead, the Goswamis did their part well. And after the Goswami, subsequently, Jiva Goswami was the youngest one amongst them. And he guided the three great souls, Shyamananda Pandit, Srinivas Acharya, and Narottama Das Thakur. Mm. And after that, the Babajis in our line, many of them saw that a lot of corruption came into this world. In the name of devotional service, some people were cheating. They became sahajiyas. Sahajiyas means those who took the path of devotional life cheaply. Um, and a lot of apasampradayas came. Some 13 apasampradaya. Apasampradaya means the deviant sects. So when they came, some of the Babajis who were pure, they resorted to seclusion. They went to the dham, into a very secluded place and just took the mala and chanting all day 3 lakh names, 2 lakh names. They thought that the Kali Yuga has started now. We just chant the whole name and go back to Godhead. So because of that, gradually the number of Vaishnavas reduced on the planet. So things became very deadly, and corruption increased more and more. So later on in our line, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the first revolutionary acharya who protested against the deviant sects by writing more than 100 books, by himself giving lectures, and he also uh, instituting Namahata. He has written a very famous book called as Godruma Kalpatavi. So that book gives a blueprint for how to preach and expand preaching in Bhakti Vriksha groups. So based on that book, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj made that book Bhakti Vriksha Manual based on that book. It gives a kind of idea on how to make small groups of Vaishnavas living in pockets. So they all take care of each other. Stay together, come together. And very simple, basic practice. Chant Hare Krishna, perform aratis, bow down to Lord Krishna, study Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, offer bhoga, accept prasad, distribute prasad, inspire the people to remain loyal and faithful to the devotional practices, accept a guru. And then in this way, the whole group of devotees can faithfully practice whole life and go back to Godhead. Besides doing that, they also can multiply, bring known people, little by little, they multiply the groups. In this way, I heard that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had more than 1500 groups or so. Uh, Although he was sitting in Godruma Dweep, he was preaching very vigorously all over Bengal. And in those days, there were no emails or WhatsApp. They only had snail mail, which will come by postman. So vigorously was preaching. But he prayed to Lord that give me a powerful son who will actually take this far and wide. So then he got Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who opened 64 mathas. So in those days, mathas were unheard of. Every spiritualist will have to depend on oneself for practice. You practice in your place, I practice in my place. It was like that. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur opened mathas, and mathas had beautiful Radha Gandharva Giridhari temple will be there. Uh, there is a place where the printing press was there, and books will be printed and distributed. There was accommodation for the sadhus. Then there were prasadam hall where the congregation living outside, they can come take darshan, take part in aartis, bow down to Lord and take darshan of the beautiful deities. And he also arranged for dioramas. Dioramas on all the walls. Colorful display of Lord's pastimes, Radha Krishna pastimes, Chaitanya Leela. Colorfully made. So visitors' eyes are immediately caught to see the beautiful dioramas, and they discuss what is this pastime. Jagai Madai are creating trouble, and then how Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda are delivering them. People hear the pastimes and get purified in their heart, come one step closer to Krishna. So in this way, Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur did a very organized thing. Nice display of dioramas, nice darshan of the deities, prasadam for all the visitors, matha for the sadhus to live, uh, and provisions, facilities like prasadam hall and the satsang hall and everything, and books getting printed and going out. Just see what a wonderful arrangement. So this is the beauty of an acharya. When acharya comes, he brings about order. In the world is full of chaos. There is so much of irreligion going on. But acharya brings about an order when he comes. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a beautiful example. Uh, uh, Sometimes you see in the rainy season, the frogs will croak. They'll make a sound. Correct, no? When there's a thunder in the sky, thunder, immediately the frogs will start croaking, peacocks will start dancing. And peacocks also make sweet sounds seeing the cloud in the sky. Like that they make sounds. So to express their delight. Similarly, in the Bhagavatam it is said that when the Acharya lives in a matha, he takes the gong and plays in the morning. Dang, 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 like that. When he plays in the morning, immediately all the disciples will jump up from their bed. And immediately they go for a bath. And then they get ready and wear tilak in 12 parts of their body and come to the temple hall and bow down in front of the Acharya and then in front of the deities. And the Acharya inspires them to recite the Vedic mantras and shlokas and everything. So the brahmacharis and the celibates living in the temple matha, they are inspired by a living example of an acharya. He himself sets an example. So this example is given in the Bhagavatam. In those days, there were lakhs of Gurukul in India. Several lakhs of Gurukul. In each of the Gurukul, there was a Guru, Acharya, and then the disciples staying together. So these people were purified by spiritual practice and they were enlightened in the Vedic literature. And then they would set out in the society to have a deeper penetration, going to the homes and become Purohit. Purohit means benefit the householders. Or they would become Brahmins or they would become Pracharakas. In this way, they would reach the knowledge to the people. And the whole society lived a value-based life of character, morality, ethics, and spirituality. So the whole society was very calm, cool, collected, peaceful, satisfied, grateful, humble. Everything was very nice. So Acharya is one who not only has disciples who follow him, Acharya produces many acharyas. He produces many, many great acharyas. That's what Bhaktivedanta Thakur, when he did this, he established 64 matas in India. Mm. And uh, when he left Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, mm, he wanted to see that this beautiful moment of Lord Chaitanya should be preserved, protected, and it is carefully handed over, and it will be taken ahead like that. But I don't want to take any specific names. But there were two prominent disciples of his. One was taking care of all the properties, lands and everything. Another one was a very great Pandita, learned scholar. These two people were the prominent ones, and there was a kind of competition for the succession. Who will be accepted as the successor of Bhaktivedanta Thakur? And then naturally they formed groups, and there was a cleavage in relationships, offenses flying back and forth. Result was all the 64 matas were taken by different disciples who are running it individually. Uh, and Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur had said that in the material world, transmitting spiritual wisdom is not an ordinary thing. There has to be a very organized approach. Just like if you put a bundle of sticks together and tie it, you cannot break it. But if the sticks become separated, anybody can easily break it. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur had told them that you all should stay united and then form a GBC. GBC is governing body commissioners. Make a GBC. And the GBC leadership should be accepted by all. And then they will come together and frame policies and everything. Everybody else will follow, and all the mathas have to be united. That was his plan. But then soon after his departure, there was a cleavage, and therefore, although the six matas were led by different people, uh, eventually they became weakened because of becoming separated. So, like you might have heard the story of how once there were four cows which are good friends, but a lion wanted to eat them. But whenever the lion went to them, all the cows with their big horns would do like this, and lion would run away, because they were united. So when you are united, you can drive away Maya very easily. But then lion hatched a plot. So he went to one cow individually and they put something in the ears. And all the cows became angry with each other. So they went in four different directions. At that time, lion found that it is easy now. They all have become singled out now. So this is the trick of Maya, that she singles you out and slaughters you. That's what the lions did. So if there is a quarrel amongst devotees, that's the greatest curse in Kali Yuga. Because the very meaning of the word Kali means quarrel. As soon as we quarrel with devotees, we bring the ego, our false ego, and have tussle with devotees. And then you find fault with someone and they find fault with you, and there is a cleavage between the two. That means Kali is in action. Kali's job is what? To separate the devotees and make the devotees vulnerable to Maya. And they can be knocked off very easily. And that started happening. Uh, and our Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, he was at that time a householder in his Purvashrama. And he used to come to the matha and he would sing very sweetly, and he also would talk very eloquently. But because he was a grihastha, he won't sit on the Vyasasana. He would put one sannyasi in the Vyasasana, and who may not be able to speak so much, but he would sit down and then he would give lecture. Because sannyasi would tell him, you speak. So Prabhupada sang Kirtan also, and he spoke also. He was a businessman. Later on, after his sons grew up at the right age, after 50, Prabhupada took Vanaprastha and went to Delhi and Vrindavan. So he would be shuttling between Vrindavan and Delhi, making this Back to Godhead magazines. He worked very hard. He would personally purchase paper from the market, and he would be carrying on the head. He would go and give it to the printing press and get the magazines printed. He would go to the tea shops and selling the magazines. And nobody would buy. Many people would be lazy to buy, and why to spend money? People are not ready. So then Prabhupada wrote an article, No Time, Disease of Kali Yuga. He wrote an article on that. And somebody told Prabhupada, you are preaching all these things. Look at these crazy fellows. Then Prabhupada asked, who is crazy? He wrote article. Any comments you will hear, he'll make new article, in line with Shastra, and even he would distribute like that. He worked very hard. Sometimes he would be struggling to reach out to people. Wherever there was opportunity, platform for him to speak, he would go and speak about Bhagavad Gita, about Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna consciousness. He wanted to wake up everybody in Kali Yuga. It was a big struggle during his days in Vrindavan and in Jhansi. So he endeavored hard. And later on the order of his guru, you know, he had taken sannyas and then he went to the West, and rest is history. You know how what a miracle happened. So Prabhupada, following in the footsteps of his guru, also brought about a great order. Prabhupada writes in Krishna book a very beautiful analogy from the Srimad Bhagavatam. 10th canto, there is a light of the Bhagavat. Prabhupada made that book. In that you will find example given in the Bhagavatam. There is one chapter on the rainy season in Vrindavan. It is said sometimes in the rainy season, the Jugnu, Jugnu is a glowworm. It will be glowing. This glowworm looks very attractive only in the night. But in the daytime when the sun comes, the glowworm has no value. Similarly, Prabhupada says that there are many bogus movements have come in Kali Yuga. There are so many Swamis claiming to be God. And there are people who are social welfare workers and philanthropists and altruists. But they wear a religious garb, but they don't tell people about God. They don't tell people to surrender to God. They simply feed food or open hospitals or open schools, and they say that we have done this much service, social service we have done, but they don't actually tell one word about God to people. So, and they also wear the religious garb also. So Prabhupada says these are like jugnus. The jugnu cannot give light. Yeah. But on the other hand, you will see when the sun rises in the morning, at that time all the jugunu, all the glowworms become useless. At that time, whole world gets light. So the spiritual movement, Prabhupada says, true Vaishnava is one who gives enlightenment to the world. He gives enlightenment. What is the main enlightenment? Who are you? Who is God? And what is your loving relationship with Him? That's the main central theme between the Lord and the devotee. Actually, if you go through the Vedic literature, the first step is to inquire about the soul. Once you know I am not the body, I am the soul, you understood that. Then, as a soul, then there is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, different yogas. Karma Yoga is a path of action. Do your activities and offer the fruits to God. Jnana Yoga is a path of knowledge. Use your mind to speculate and try to find out God, and you end up with understanding the Aham Brahmasmi, or impersonal Brahman. And Ashtanga Yoga is a path of concentration and focus with the intelligence. Use your intelligence to focus on the super soul in your heart. Dhyana, Vastita Tadgate, Manasa, Pashyantiyam Yogino. Yogis meditate in their own heart on the super soul who is standing in the heart. They know the personality of Godhead. And then when you go beyond that, because super soul worshippers, they only have reverence for the Lord. Whereas when you go beyond that to Bhakti Yoga, there it's a path of heart, path of love. So in the path of love, one begins to love Krishna, then the seva begins. Because yogis don't do seva, they just meditate on the Lord and they just admire the Lord, that's all. Whereas when you become a bhakta, then you feel that, oh, Lord is my most worshipable and lovable object, let me render some service to Him. So then you have a deity, you decorate him, you dress him, you ornament him, you feed him, you celebrate festivals for him, you circumambulate him, you bow down to him, remember him at every moment. So in this way, one can come to the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. And then in sadhana bhakti, as one progresses more and more, one's attraction, affection for the Lord increases, then one enters the spiritual realm of 5 rasas. Dasya ras, Sakya ras, Vachala ras, Madhuri ras, all those rasas and all. At that stage, one understands Krishna is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. All the rasas or the loving exchanges are only truly possible with the Supreme Lord Krishna. In this world also, there's an imitation of those rasas in the spiritual world. Krishna has his friends, we also make our friends in this world. In the spiritual world, Krishna has gopis who are, he is the lover and they are beloved. In this world also people have romantic affairs. Krishna is a child of Yashoda Nanda. Here also we become child of somebody. But what is the difference between that rasa and this rasa? There Krishna is the center and we all are around him, loving service. Whereas in the material world, the jiva thinks, I am the center. Like you are the child. When mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, everybody loves you and showers you with affection, you are very jolly. Because we think who is the center? And the center. Sometimes in home you find a child, he gets a younger brother or younger sister. Then everyone's attention turns to the younger one. So now the elder one thinks, hey, what is this? Nobody pays attention to me. Sometimes pinches the younger one. Huh? And the younger one is crying. And the mother, father come running. Hey, why did he pinch him? He says, then why everybody is looking at him? What about me? Huh? So in this world, everybody want to be the center. This material world. So it's a perverted reflection of that. So the society, friendship, love in this world is temporary. Prabhupada says, if you make Krishna your friend, that friend will never die. If you make Krishna your son, that son will never die. If you make Krishna your lover, that your love for Krishna, romance will be eternal. That will never be lost. In this world, even if a boy and girl love very much each other, how long can they live? When they get old, both the souls have to die and then they go to two different destinations in this world. Whereas our love for God is eternal, imperishable, everlasting. So, uh, and then one can study Srimad Bhagavatam to understand how this loving exchange Lord does. There is no other commodity between the Lord and the devotee except pure love. Therefore, Shuddha Bhaktas, pure devotees, don't need anything in this world to deal with the Lord. Lord, simply you need a flower or a fruit to offer him, that's all. So when one comes to this platform, one can experience the highest joy, which is inexplicable. Sukham matyantikam jattad buddhigrahyam atindriyam veti yatra na chaivayam stitaschalati tatpatah yam labdva cha param labham manyate nadikam tatah yasmin sito na dukke na gurunapi vichalyate tam vidya dukkha samyogam viyogam yoga samstitam. This is even in a stage of Ashtanga Yogi's meditation, one experience such happiness. What to speak of experiencing loving rasa with the Lord? That is extraordinary. So Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti, and what does a devotee do? Krishna Arte Akila Cheshta, which means Krishna Arte means for Krishna, Akila means all, Cheshta means endeavor. That means my Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, I will offer everything to Krishna. You know the famous verse? Kayena Vacha, Manasendriyairva, Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat. करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. I'll offer my body, my mind, my words, all the activities with these three things I'll offer at the lotus feet of the Supreme God. There's another nice verse which says, Stitihi seva gatir yatra smritischinta stutirvachah bhuyat sarvatmana vishnau madiyam tvayi chetitam. He's saying, Stitihi Seva means if I am situated in one temple, I will do Seva there. Stitihi Seva. Gatir Yatra. If I am going from one place to another, it should be some Yatra. Yatra means some holy pilgrimage. Stitihi Seva, Gatir Yatra, Smritis Chinta. If a devotee thinks that thought is related to Krishna. Stutir Vachaha. If a devotee is speaking, that's in glorification of Krishna only. Bhuyat Sarvatmana Vishnu is saying, may all my body, mind, words be engaged in your service. Mayam Madhyam Tvai Cheshtitam. Let all my efforts be engaged only in relation to you. Something similar, he said this. Vritarasura also says, what is the famous verse? Aham Hare Tava Padaika Dasano Daso Bhavitasmi Bhuyah Manasmaret Asupater Gunamste Grinita Vakarma Karotu Kayaha. Very, very beautiful verse. He's saying, Aham Hare Tava Padaika Moola. Oh Lord Hari, I have no other aspiration other than becoming Dasanu Daso Bhavitasmi Bhuya. I just want to become servant of the servant of the servant of your devotees. And what do you want to do by becoming servant of your devotees? He says, Manas Maret. I want to remember you with my heart. Asu Pater Gunamste Grinita vakarma karotuka. With my body, I want to serve you. With my mind, I want to remember you. And with my vani, I want to glorify you. This is actually the highest platform of pure devotion. So the acharya actually comes to give this. And anything short of this is a compromise. The acharya does not compromise in giving the truth to the people. Because sometimes people say that, if you give food, if you give clothing, then people will come, then we can teach and things like that people say. But actually people don't take it seriously. People have to actually be looking for this, what we are saying now. So therefore, when Srila Prabhupada came, when he was in America, you know, uh, I forgot to tell that example. In the Bhagavatam, he says that sometimes in the night, there are stars in the sky. But can the stars give light? No. What gives light? The moon. So Prabhupada used to quote this example, Ekashchandra tamohanti, nachatara sahasrashaha. So when Prabhupada started the movement in America, somebody told him, Swamiji, it's better that you learn to wear pant shirt in America, otherwise nobody will respect you if you wear this Vaishnava dress. And they also told him that it is better that you make only 3 principles instead of 4. No illicit sex. If you say in America, they will drive you away. Nobody will follow. They said like that. Mm. And also, they told that you learned American manners and everything when you are in America. And Prabhupada did not pay any heed to such recommendations. When he went to America, you will see that he said, I have not come here to please the Americans. I have come here to teach the pure science of Krishna consciousness from Bhagavatam. He was sticking to it, and then eventually he saw even Americans and people from London and Australia and Canada and Russia, everybody is wearing dhoti kurta nowadays. Ma'am. Everybody's Matajis are wearing saris there. You can see that. You will see that in Vrindavan, when Prabhupada brought the American disciples, Matajis are wearing sari. Prabhuji is wearing dhoti kurta, and they were sweeping the floor in Vrindavan. And Vrajavasis were shocked. They couldn't believe their eyes. People from America are dressed like in Vedic dress. Prabhupada created that great paradigm shift for them. Same with pure prasadam. Indian cuisine, prasad. Prabhupada made it so attractive. Now in America, the cooking classes attracts in many universities 400, 500 students for learning Indian cuisine cooking. Yeah. So Prabhupada said Indians are the fellows who know the best all varieties of prasad. Nowhere in the world you will get this kind of variety, in the Vedic variety. So even now in Columbus, if you go to Ohio State University, I go for a program every time I go. So there are 400, 450 students come for the cooking classes. To learn idli, dosa, sambar, how to make rice and sabji and everything. So Prabhupada presented the culture of India along with the most important core spiritual message from the Srimad Bhagavatam without compromise. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada, his contribution is enormous because he made a very stable movement like ISKCON, and where very beautiful deities, Prabhupada installed them and then arranged for Pancharatric worship. And the Brahman standard in ISKCON is very high. What is become Brahman standard in ISKCON? Even if you see the Harinam standard, even to be a Harinam Dikshit devotee, you should be chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles. In these 4 regulative principles, many people may not be aware, outside people. Prabhupada made no illicit sex, no sex before marriage, no sex outside marriage. Even within marriage, people come together for the sake of begetting children and raising them in Krishna consciousness. And similarly, no meat eating means, no fish, meat or eggs. And similarly, no onion garlic also. Similarly, no intoxication means no smoking, no drinking, no drugs. So no coffee, no tea also. So in South India, people will faint if you tell them no coffee, no tea. But Prabhupada instituted this in America. Can you imagine? Hmm? People who are drinking liquor, now they are drinking pure milk. People who are eating cow flesh, now they won't even touch onion garlic. Is it not a radical paradigm shift? So Prabhupada could do that. And no gambling. Mm. So Prabhupada, these are all from Srimad Bhagavatam. Dyutam panam sriya suna yatra adharma shatruvida. So Prabhupada brought the Bhagavatam principles pure, straight, without compromise in this society. And then you get Harinam Diksha. And then after 5 years of Harinam Diksha, 4 5 years, Then for the Brahman Diksha, then one has to have come to the Sattoguna. From Tamoguna, Rajoguna, are driven out. When you come to Sattoguna, you develop attraction for the deities. You are chanting in the early in the morning. You are attending the aratis. Your lifestyle habits have become very sattvic, and now you are studying the scriptures very deeply. You are also preaching. You are doing book distribution. You become a very fixed up devotee, as we say. Then one is given the Brahman Diksha after that. Especially when one is taking serious responsibility, commitment in the moment, then they go for Brahman Diksha after that. Hmm. And see the way Prabhupada gave Brahman Diksha in the society. In South India, there was a Subramanya Bharati. So he went to the slum and other places and said, why only the Brahman should wear this? I will give you sacred thread. He took lot of sacred threads and put it for all the people living in the slum and said everybody can be Brahman. So his spirit is good. His heart was to, empower everybody as a Brahman, but he didn't expect the qualification from them, isn't it? Same with Gandhiji also. Gandhiji also wanted to encourage. At that time, some Brahmins were proud. They were not allowing the people at fourth or fifth class people to come to the temple. Fourth order people. Uh, then, because of that, Gandhi was very upset. Why you are denying them entry in the temple? So I will build temples myself. He arranged for in Navakali, there is a Radhakrishna temple Gandhi made. And then he and Jamanalal Bajaj, they did a social reform, allowing all people to come to the temple, which is a nice thing. But then he also said, you can become Brahman. Actually, he called them by a name, Hari Jan or Vishnu Jan, that kind of name. So many social reformers, they didn't have clear idea on how to make a human being into a proper Brahman. You don't become Brahman by taking birth in a Brahman family. Son of a doctor is not a doctor. Son of a lawyer is not a lawyer. You have to qualify yourself. So in this way, you will see Prabhupada actually gave qualification to people before making them Brahmins. Pure lifestyle when you lead, then only you are a Brahman. For entering into altar, any Tom, Dick and Harry cannot enter the altar. For entering altar, one has to qualify Brahmanically, then only they are allowed to enter. So in this way, Prabhupada made systems for Diksha, Prabhupada made systems for temples to celebrate festivals for the deities, such Utsavams. And Prabhupada established very beautiful deities in all our temples. And then he opened the BBT, Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, and printed hundreds and thousands and lakhs of books, uh, all pumping out. This much book distribution has never happened in the history of this world. The kind of millions of books going out, we have distributed 60 crore books in the planet till now. So you can see the kind of mass of books which have gone out. So Prabhupada revolutionized spiritual life in a very, very big way during his time. That's an acharya. He brought about order not only in India, he created holy places in America. He went to West Virginia and made the new Vrindavan there. He went to San Francisco and made new Jagannath Puri there. Similarly, he made new Talavan. He made a new Dwaraka in LA, Los Angeles. So he was creating new holy places in America. So one article came in the BTG. Srila Prabhupada transformed a part of the material world into spiritual world. Like that, there was an article. Such an amazing revolution he did. And even the American boys and girls, they became so well disciplined by his training, by his purity, by his affection, by his guidance, by studying the philosophical purports that he wrote in his books. This is another masterpiece of Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. 18,000 verses, he gave purport to them. Very, very masterpiece work. Because prior to Srila Prabhupada, there is no edition of Bhagavatam commentary in any language other than Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the only language in which you get Bhagavatam. But Prabhupada kept all the Acharya's commentaries in front of him. Early in the morning, between 12:30 or 1 o'clock, he would get up and then he would do till 4:30. He would be taking out the vital portions from Acharya's commentaries and putting it all together in the Bhagavatam purports. And that's how he brought out this masterpiece work of Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he has done everything for us. He has made the books. He has made the very nice temples. He has also given us GBC, Governing Body Commissioner, as his guru had told. He set up a system of governing body commissioners, which is the leading It's a ultimate managing authority and ultimate leading authority for all of ISKCON. They are all very old disciples of Prabhupada, and they're coming together. And below that, Prabhupada made also, other forums like we have Bureau, ICC, uh, and other forums are available. In this way, Prabhupada made a proper administrative structure also. And then Prabhupada expected that now I have given everything. Now they just have to. When Prabhupada was in 1977 in the bed, people asked him, Prabhupada, what is your last desire? Prabhupada said, Kuch icha nahi. He said, I don't have any desire because I am very happy that my followers are faithfully taken up to Krishna consciousness. I am confident in my absence they will run this movement and expand it. Prabhupada was pretty confident and very happy. And then after, when the acharya leaves, it is said there is a chaos. Now, why does the chaos come? Disorder or chaos come? There are various reasons for that. Mm. Like uh, a preacher should not become greedy to increase the number of followers who are not of proper quality. There is a kind of greed sometimes to claim that I have a big number of followers. But then, if you get followers who are not properly, faithfully following, then the reaction for their sinful actions will come upon us also. So one has to be very careful in increasing followers. There has to be some standards set which everybody should follow. But sometimes our movement expanded very rapidly in many places. And then because of people, unscrupulous people coming with motivations, material motives, when they sneak into society, then that can cause, they can cause havoc in the society. Mm. And also there are people who, after Prabhupada left the planet, uh, went back to Godhead, then they did not study his purports very carefully. The attention went away from deepening one's Shastric understanding. From that, attention went to bringing money, running the temples and creating facilities and making life more comfortable. So this is therefore one should understand the difference between structure and substance. So temple is a structure and the substance is hearing and chanting. So without the substance, a temple is simply an empty shell. It doesn't have any value. You will see in America, many of the churches and cathedrals, they were actually having these pigeons passing stool, flying, and they were mostly locked up. Only on Sunday they would open and a handful of people would come. When Prabhupada went, many of these padris, fathers and brethren, they came to see Prabhupada's lecture. And they asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, you don't have any temple or church, and I am seeing in this ordinary building you are living, and so many boys and young boys and girls are coming and thronging your place. How is it? So then when they heard Prabhupada's speech, they understood that the Swamiji is genuine and he is presenting the philosophy very purely about God, what is soul, and what is sin, and what is to be done. So they themselves became very inspired. And then, even today, when I travel in the West, I see some churches have been sold out to become playgrounds for playing some games, or some of them have been converted into accommodations for Mm. Like they have converted them into rooms and they're accommodating some people and making some money, some places. And some churches have been sold and ISKCON has purchased. Why ISKCON purchases churches ready-made in America? There is a reason for that. Because when they make a church, in America there are a lot of protocols, strict, very stringent rules. Like, the entrance should be like this and garden should be like this, height should be this much, and, inside also all the electrification and, car park area and all that. There are hundreds of rules in America. But when you have a ready-made church, you buy it and you pay them off, then all those rules are already followed by when they made the church. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel again, second time. So they buy a existing church and then they make it into a temple. ISKCON temple. ISKCON has purchased in many places like that. So because ISKCON has a very, very vibrant activity to do, so many we could expand like that in many places. So now it is not only with the churches, even with ISKCON also. If ISKCON temples become dull and there is not much activity there, there is no young blood, Now, people are not getting up in the morning and enthusiastically taking part in spiritual activities. They're not going out on Sankirtan, distributing Prabhupada's books, prasadam distribution, book distribution, Harinam Sankirtan, uh, and regular classes in the temple, regular kirtans in the temple, and very lovingly the deities are not worshipped and cared for. Without these things, the temple has no substance at all. So when Prabhupada left the world, after that, in some of the temples, you just make some 3, 4 life members in a month, and then you got the money for running the temple that month. And then just you sit and eat and grow a big tummy, that's all. And there's not much activity. And this, I'm not only saying ISKCON, any organization for that matter, the organization loses its soul, like that. In India, in those days, one Salvation Army, one Christian group came to preach in India. Uh, so as they were preaching, they thought that if we provide material benefits to people, we can get a big number. So they started collecting t-shirts, pant, and clothes from different people, and they would accumulate it in the church in big number. And they told the poor people, all of you come, we will distribute these clothes for you freely. Huh? So a lot of people started coming to the church. Eventually, when those leaders became old and passed away, now the successors who came, they thought the goal of Salvation Army is only to distribute the clothes, collect clothes and distribute clothes. That's the only activity that is prominent there. There is no worship of God. There is no. So this is the problem. Many times in this world, people forget the spirit and they just stick on to the externals. It's like, for example, I ask you, one of you, hey, can you please get me a Bisleri bottle? And you come and give me an empty Bisleri bottle. Roj, you want a Bisleri bottle? Here the Bisleri bottle. I see there is not no any water inside. So I may scold you, hey, I asked for water. Why are you bringing me an empty bottle? You may say, Prabhuji, you asked the Bisleri bottle. The bottle I brought. Hmm. It's a structure without substance. It's a hollow. It has no value. So therefore, uh, structure is less important. Substance is more important. Substance is the most vital thing. So when the practitioners do not have the integrity and honesty and truthfulness to stick to the teachings of the acharya, mm, and they neglect the teachings, and they ignore the teachings, and they become materially oriented. This is one reason why spiritual movement can lose its charm. Correct, no? Another reason I told you, like for example, when the purpose of Prabhupada building beautiful big temples is to attract the masses. Prabhupada said that if you are sitting under a tree ringing a bell with a small deity, who will come there? But if you make a very beautiful palatial temple, many people come with their families to see the deities and take part in the utsavams and all, festivals and all. But then there is a risk in this. What is the risk when the temple is very opulent, accommodations are available, nice food is available? One may just take advantage of food, clothing, shelter, and then relax. And and the grihasthas will pay donation to the temple. Say, we have done our dharma. And the sadhus living in the temple may just accept nice prasadam from the grihasthas and say, we have done our dharma. We have eaten prasad in your house, we have done our dharma. And they will say, we have given donation to temple, we have done our dharma. Both are complacent. That's a useless temple, isn't it? Actually, sadhus should be renounced and they should go out. They should go out distributing the knowledge, distributing holy name, distributing prasad. They should actually wear out their body like a chappal. Chappal gets worn out, isn't it? Our body, mind, words are only for Lord Hari's service. One should wear out the body for Lord's service. And grihasthas also, as they grow in the number of years, not only should they give donation, they come and enter service. Gradually, they develop detachment. Detachment from material life and attachment to Krishna. And as they cross 50, 60, their whole focus should go on more Shravana, more Kirtana, more Seva. And they become an interface between the sadhus and the outside world and assist in propagating Krishna consciousness. Then that is a very vibrant community. That's a real community. When there is a prana achayar, sehetu prachar, he said. If somebody has a pran, then only he will preach. Otherwise, they will become very dull. So now there is a new thing coming up in the current day ISKCON, which I am observing, that it's very good to do Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhava. It's very nice to do that. And Bhakti Vedanta and Bhakti Sarvabhauma. All this is very good. because you are studying Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is very wonderful. But what happens with some people, they study all the acharyas commentaries, they go into deeper and deeper study. Some people are taking Sanskrit classes. Some people are taking music classes. Mm. Some people are going into books even other than the regular books like Gita, Bhagavatam, and CC. Uh, and some people are relishing the Acharya's commentaries. Uh, and some of them actually think that studying is so important that they even miss the whole morning program. And some of them never ever distribute a book or they never ever preach also. They never join the Sankirtan of the Sankirtan movement. They become more or less like scholars. They become like armchair speculators. And they are not interested in expanding this movement. They think that we got very wonderful knowledge, just enjoy this knowledge and go back to Godhead. So they become like Bhajananandis, which is a very great risk actually. This is not what Prabhupada wanted in this moment. Prabhupada actually said everybody should go out. The matha is not for staying. Matha is giving a facility for just getting up in the morning, attend the program. Everybody goes out and does something, some welfare work, paropakar, for the people. So you will see many Prabhupada disciples, they are elderly, now 70, 80 years old. Although they may not be very scholarly in terms of vast study of the scriptures and deep study of scriptures and knowing all the dozen commentaries of acharyas, they might not have gotten time to study. But their conviction in Prabhupada's lotus feet, conviction in Krishna is far more deep rooted than even the scholars of our movement, many times. So the goal of life is not to become a scholar without devotion. The goal of life is to first become a devotee. If you're a scholar, it's great. Like Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu was a great scholar and a very, very advanced devotee and very, very humble. So he had a very amazing combination of scholarship and humility and devotion. So if one can be a scholar like him, that's wonderful. Otherwise, scholarship is going to distract us from what Prabhupada wanted us to do. And another thing that happens in our current day society, why our society can suffer, is uh, Prabhupada actually respected the temple presidents in America. He called 40 to 50 presidents for a meeting, and he would conduct meetings and know how the temples are developing and everything. Uh, at the same time, Prabhupada also had meetings with the GBCs. So now the GBCs are also important. Bureau members are important, temple presidents are important, all are very important. At the same time, Prabhupada wanted all of them to work in a very cooperative manner, go together and not cancel each other's energies by internal collisions or internal differences in opinion. uh. So sometimes in leadership, there are likely to be polarized opinions. When there are polarized opinions, how to bring about resolution of the conflicts. And so when Prabhupada was there, it was very easy. People would just go to him and ask, Prabhupada, he is saying this, I am saying this. What is it? Like somebody said, Prabhupada, he is saying Ram is Balaram. I am saying Ram is Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram. Which one is true? Prabhupada said, both are true in the Mahamantra. That's our problem is immediately solved. But now it's not the case. Now, after Prabhupada left, you can't directly go to Prabhupada and ask what we should do. So there are issues which are taking some years to solve. But if devotees don't respectfully resolve the issues, if they are going to blaspheme one another, offend one another, then it creates a cleavage within the society. And if there are, similarly, there are gurus having followers. If a guru comes to an ISKCON temple, all the disciples will come. Thousands of them will throng the temple. And the guru goes back, they will also go back. If another guru comes, only his disciples will come. And other people will not come. This is not what Prabhupada wanted. Actually, the devotee should think all the gurus, they are all like mouthpieces of one ultimate guru who is Krishna. You know the famous verse. What is that? Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. So Krishna is a Jagat Guru and all the other gurus are able to speak because Krishna is empowering them to speak. Same message what Krishna would want to give, they are all giving. So it's not that one stays, this is my guru and all other gurus are not important. That is a neophyte behavior. One should be able to see Krishna, the original Guru, speaking through the mouths of so many different acharya, current acharyas. One should respect all. Then only our society will be undivided and together. Because Prabhupada is leading in the front. Try to picturize an army where Prabhupada is the commander in chief. Next to him, all the gurus are. Prabhupada is the chief, like Maharati or Atirati, isn't it? And then behind him, all the other chariots. And behind him, there are leaders on the back of elephants. Then there are other leaders on the back of horses. Then there are foot soldiers. All are going and fighting against whom? Maya. One should see like this. If you see like that, then we will not hurt each other. Imagine otherwise if Bhima and Arjun start fighting. Bhima is showing his gada to Arjun, Arjun is showing arrow to Bhima. They will cancel each other's energy, isn't it? How foolish it would be. We are supposed to fight the enemy, not fight with each other. So within the society, we should not cancel our energies. So if we, therefore Prabhupada said, if you want to show your love for me, cooperate with one another to keep the movement together. That's a full statement. Many people don't know the last part. Prabhupada said, if you want to show your love for me, see, Prabhupada didn't say, if you want to show your love for me, love each other. He didn't say, because loving is very difficult. He said, cooperate. And not just cooperate. Why should you cooperate? To keep the movement together. That should be the goal. You have to keep the movement together. Because the great Acharya, he has started this movement, and we have to protect this movement, not destroy this movement. Keep the movement together. Which means make sure the spirit which he taught us, Shravanam and Kirtanam and Prachar, that is not forgotten. Make sure we don't become an instrument of quarrel, we become an instrument of cooperation within this moment. So another thing, the challenge that our movement faces is, uh, like Srila Prabhupada made some innovations when he went to the West. For example, one day there was a little girl, Saradiya. She came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, why only brahmacharis are given accommodation in the temple? We girls have no accommodation in temple. Prabhupada said, no, girls have to live with parents at home and then come to temple and go. Come with your parents and go. Like the Prabhupada said. And Prabhupada asked, are you living with your parents? And she had tears streaming in her eyes. She said, Prabhupada, you are my parent. My mother, father divorced long before they left. I am living alone. And she said, I find it difficult to come in the early morning to the temple. Prabhupada immediately called the temple president and said, there should be one full floor arranged for the women. So he started a brahmacharini ashram. There was a brahmachari ashram, there was brahmacharini ashram. He made a very strict policy that there should be no mixing of brahmacharis and brahmacharinis. And they should faithfully practice in the temple, and they should have a leader who will take care of them. So Prabhupada arranged it. It's a revolution he did. And then Prabhupada saw that women were as dedicated as men in going out and distributing books and, in cooking for the deities and celebrating festivals and worshipping. Even today, if you go to America, many temples you will find Mataji is worshipping the deities very faithfully. Many old disciples of Prabhupada. So he made, this is a revolution he made. In one place, Prabhupada didn't have a temple. He took one bungalow and made it into a temple. Some Indian elderly gentleman came and said, Swamiji, you are calling it as a ISKCON temple, but where is the Gopuram? They asked. There is no Gopuram. Prabhupada said, see, Gopuram is there or not, what should happen in a temple is happening here. Darshan is there, Prasadam is there, holy name is being chanted, Bhagavad Katha is being distributed. You guys have a stereotyped idea of what a temple is. In India, gali gali mein you will have a temple, but many temples you will see there are no spiritual books distributed. There is no saintly persons to explain the philosophy. They just have, sometimes they don't have anybody to chant and dance in front of the deities also. Sometimes in Vrindavan you find, in certain temples they have a machine, ting tong tong, ting tong tong, like that makes sounds. They have a drum kind of thing, because there is. But on the other hand, you will find in our ISKCON temple in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram temple, you cannot put one mustard seed there. So much crowd, especially in Kartik month. So Prabhupada said, this is a real temple. Temple is not just, you have a beautiful Gopuram, but nobody comes there. What is the use? So Prabhupada was a personality who actually knew how to According to Desh Kala Patra, modify things. Prabhupada said, right now we are living in a sky-rise tower in one of the houses. I have made this house into a temple. What is the difference between this house and the next house? This house is a temple of Krishna, where everybody thinks Krishna is the enjoyer and we all are his servants. And that house is a house for sense gratification because they are not devotees. Here, all of you are very active, going to market, bringing flowers, making garland for the Lord, making jewelry for the Lord, cooking for the Lord, and going out and distributing books and everything. Whereas in that house, they are bringing things. They are bringing a TV. They are bringing some things to play, games. So their goal is sense gratification. Our goal is Krishna's service. So although both the flats may look similar, but the activities that are happening inside are different. So in this way, Prabhupada could take a flat and turn it into a temple. So now sometimes after Prabhupada left the world, some people are thinking that why can't we make some innovation in this movement so that this movement can expand very fastly? Like Chanakya says, Vishadapi amritam grahyam amedyadapi kanchanam. Like that he says, no? Uh, uh, Nichadapi uttamam jnanam. Uh, uh, Stishu dushkuladapi, like that he says. Four things Chanakya is saying. Vishadapi amritam grahya means, say, you are going to bathroom, you sit in the commode and pass stool. Suddenly your gold ring fell into that commode. Huh? And it is in the middle of stool. Now you have to take it out. Correct, no? How many of you will take it out? Only few? Only, yeah. Others are doubtful. It's a gold it is. Say gold maybe 5 lakh or 10 lakh. Huh? So you naturally have to take out and you can wash your hand after that with soap. Correct, no? Thoroughly you have to wash your hand like that. Similarly, sometimes he says that even from stool you can extract the gold. Similarly, in even a low class family, sometimes a very good girl may be born. Sometimes. Strishu dushkuladapi. Stri ratnam dushkuladapi. Stri ratnam means what? A girl who is very cultured girl, well behaved girl may be born sometimes in a simple family also. Possible. Then you don't worry too much about the kulam. Similarly, he says that amedyadapi kanchanam. Vishadapi Amritam Grahyam. So in this way, he is saying that sometimes a person may be low born like Vidura. Vidura is born to Dasiputra, but his knowledge is very great. Therefore, Dhritarashtra asked him to speak the knowledge he heard from him. Similarly, sometimes you can also take some good things from even self-help books sometimes. Like Prabhupada said, sometimes you can take idea from other organizations. Like Prabhupada said, you can take, they are very good in organizing. Some organizations, Prabhupada said, you can take their idea. One idea you can pick up, something good they are doing. So even from Karmi sometimes, like Prabhupada quotes Dr. Radhakrishnan once, because Dr. Radhakrishnan says, modern education is a big failure, like that Radhakrishnan says. It is not teaching values, morals. Prabhupada took that quote. So he will quote Radhakrishnan here and glorify Radhakrishnan's statement because he was the president of India. Another place when Radhakrishnan will say, Manmana Bhamat Bhakto, instead of Krishna, you can meditate on something within Krishna, some impersonal Brahman, that Prabhupada will chastise. But the point is, if something is good, Prabhupada knew how to take it. Sometimes. And Prabhupada, like GBC, for example, where did Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur get the idea of GBC? From the railways. Indian Railways has a GBC system. Same thing. So he took that idea. So good things can be taken even from karmis if they have something valuable to offer. At the same time, in the name of innovation and creativity, if we bring about too many new things into this movement, there is a likelihood that we may dilute the message. Like some people nowadays are teaching spoken English in ISKCON to some people. Initially, they will teach some words, PUT, put, BUT, but they will start with that. And then they will tell them, now let's read Prabhupada books now. And then while reading, you learn Prabhupada books to learn English grammar and you become a devotee, which is very good, correct, no? You can do that. Similarly, Prabhupada also started Sanskrit class in America. So 1 or 2 months he ran Sanskrit classes. Then he stopped the Sanskrit classes, only Hare Krishna class after that. It's a good idea, but sometimes, such ideas have to be very carefully employed. You may get lost otherwise. So one has to be very careful. So in the name of innovation, there are many, nowadays people are doing so many things in innovation. So the innovation should not damage the original intended purpose by the acharya. Hmm. That's very important. Acharya's intention is to make purpose. Is preaching means giving faith in Krishna. Hmm. Preaching means giving faith in the holy name. Yeah. Preaching means transforming the hearts of the people from being atheistic to becoming a devotee of the Lord. Huh? So, otherwise, if we don't give them the true substance of devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, we will be depriving them of the original substance. Huh? We'll be cheating them. So, in this way, innovation, creativity, these things one has to be very attentive and careful. Otherwise, the movement can become diluted. So I said many things in my talk today about the when Acharya leaves, why chaos sets in. So to summarize, one of the things I said about the chaos coming is because the followers become materially attached. Just like Bagh Bazar temple, when it was built. Prior to Bagh Bazar temple, Gaudiya Math was very small and simple. When big temples come and big facilities come, there is a likelihood that people become attached to the facilities and not attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. They are not attached to seva. One becomes attached to facilities and amenities. So that is one danger. And another thing I said was forgetting the spirit and holding on to the shell. Like I told the Bisleri bottle example. Similarly, there are many churches, many temples, many religious institutions where the structure is there, but the substance is forgotten by the people. What the Acharya wanted to hand over. Our substance is not only Shravanam Kirtanam. Prabhupada wanted Shravanam Kirtanam and also Jivadaya, Vaishnava Seva, missionary activities. So the mood and mission of the Acharya should not be forgotten. That was the second thing I said. Another thing I told was, third, another point I made was about the cleavage in relationships between the leaders, causing, cancelling each other's energy is a very, very bad thing, unfortunate thing. Prabhupada said there is no danger for this movement from outside, there is danger from inside. So devotees should have mutual respect, trust, and love. And they should not hurt one another and create a cleavage. We should remain together to keep the mission together. That was one thing we discussed. Another thing we discussed is about quality and quantity. While preaching, Prabhupada said you should get moon-like devotees. Because moon can give light, not the stars. The Jugnu and stars, they cannot give light. So we don't want people who are not interested in Krishna, but who come to this moment with ulterior motives to spoil the moment. We are looking for moons. And Prabhupada said, even if number is small, don't worry. Like in a diamond shop, you don't get a big crowd. But Sabji Mandi, you get a big crowd. That doesn't mean Sabji is better than diamond. Isn't it? So similarly, we are giving the costliest thing to the people, Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada said, but eventually, the moons will become many moons. Because the moons will multiply also when you preach. When you get very good quality devotees, then they will also bring similar quality devotees over a period of time. So we should stick to the pure quality and not dilute the message. That's one thing we discussed. Another thing we discussed was about don't go for creativity and innovations which will deviate us from the original intended purpose with which Acharya started the movement. That was another thing we said. Like some people say, when Christians came to India, they had schools, they had hospitals, and many people thronged those places. Then they would call them to church. Like that, people say, so can't we also do that? Some people ask like that. Actually, you will see that even I studied in a convent, my school days. And we have even said the prayers of the Christians. Oh Lord, hallowed be thy name. Give us our daily bread. We used to just sing this song. But after school is finished, then you stick to your culture. You go on with your culture. It's not that simply by going to school or hospital, immediately you will become there. You'll just follow it. It's not like that. So sometimes the mass of people, they take material benefits and they maintain their own faiths. Not that they're going to change simply by getting these things. So at the same time, if you have a school or a hospital, if you can transmit Krishna consciousness through that, then it makes sense. Otherwise, it has no value. His Holiness Ranath Maharaj in Bhaktivedanta Hospital, once he saw that the hospital was becoming too much a busy place. It was becoming too much of medical activities. And then Maharaj, when he met the leaders, I heard that Maharaj told them that if preaching Krishna consciousness does not remain the main goal, then then this hospital would be useless, he said. Because then how is it different from the other hospitals? And this hospital? Because other hospitals only care for the body. They don't care for the soul. Whereas in this hospital, after that, they really took it up very seriously. You know, they now every patient who's lying in the bed can hear Hare Krishna Kirtan just by switching on. You put on the switch, they can hear Hare Krishna, they can hear Prabhupada's lecture. Uh, and they also have Prabhupada's books available. Festivals are celebrated in the hospital. Many people come to hospital for getting treatment and they become devotees and go back. Similarly, we have a BMS in Pune, Bhaktivedanta Model School. Actually, this school, every child will be wearing tilak in the morning. You will see they come with kantimala. First, they'll go to the temple and bow down to the Lord, take darshan and go. When they assemble, they have Mangalarati, they have Guru Puja daily. And prasadam also is distributed to them in the afternoon time. They take prasad. And teachings are called integrated approach. Integrated approach means, for example, they want to teach mathematics. So the math teacher will ask, see this picture, how many cows Krishna has around Krishna? Just count. So they'll count. Krishna has, 2 dozen cows around him. Like that. So even for counting mathematics, they will see Vrindavan scene. Huh? They will, for example, they're studying water. So the children will put a project about Govardhan. Because in Govardhan pastime, Indra showers rain. Anything connected to water and uh, Krishna consciousness. So children do many projects in relation to. It's called integrated approach. Integrated approach means along with history, physics. Like in history, they also teach about all the historical Raja Rishi kings. They teach also. So in this way, if the school can give Vedic education and also bring children to the point of becoming Krishna's devotees, then the school is justified. Otherwise, without that, it is a hollow thing. Without that spirit, be hollow. So therefore, innovation and creativity should only be allowed as much as it serves the intended original 7 purpose statements that Prabhupada has given us. We have to be very alert and attentive. So every one of us, we have a very great responsibility as Prabhupada's follower in this movement to, first of all, be a good example and not just be an example. Besides being an example, be willing to take some of the burden of the society, accepting some responsibility for some service, and also be willing to guide the people who are seeking knowledge and seeking help in spiritual life. Be willing to guide and also make an effort to create facilities the way Prabhupada created. Create facility for doing devotional service. Create facilities, be an instrument, and identify what talents and skill sets I have, which can be directed in the Sankirtan Yajna, Sankirtan mission. And every person, every Prabhuji, every Mataji, every boy, every girl, every child should constantly meditate on how we can do that. So to the degree you are able to keep the purpose of Acharya intact, you will get abundant blessings. And to the degree we are deviating from the purpose, we are taking ourselves away from that mercy. So here, uh, here he says that whenever Acharya comes, following superior orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, he establishes the principles of religion. Um, and then Prabhupada says, Dharmam to Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam, he says. And then he says, one executes religious principles by rendering devotion service, basically 9 items like Shravanam, Kirtanam and all that. Unfortunately, when the Acharya disappears, rogues and non-devotees take advantage and immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles in the name of so-called swamis, yogis, philanthropists, welfare workers and so on. The main business of human society is to think of the Supreme Lord, to become his devotees, to worship the Supreme Lord and to bow down to him. The Acharya is an authorized representative of Supreme Lord. He establishes these principles. When he disappears, things once again become disordered. But the perfect disciples of the Acharya try to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of the Guru, Acharya. And then at the present moment, practically the entire world is afraid of rogues and non-devotees. Therefore, this Krishna conscious movement is started to save the world from religious principles. So one last example I will say and conclude the talk. You know, in the night sky, Prabhupada says sometimes the stars are shining and the moon is not visible because the clouds have blocked the moon. Similarly, in this Kali Yuga, many spiritual organizations have started and they are not able to give light there because they are. Most of the organizations nowadays are talking about sattvic life. They say eat vegetarian, be good, do good, be kind, be sensitive, have nice relationships. That's all they talk. So they are like stars. They can't give enlightenment. But in the midst of such a situation, a big full moon comes out of the cloud sometimes. And that full moon is like ISKCON, Prabhupada said. So it's a Vaishnava movement. Krishna is like Krishna Chandra. Vrindavan Chandra, we say, no? Lord is like a full moon. Sometimes the full moon, Chaitanya's movement is compared to Gaur Chandra. So Prabhupada says that that is a blessing of even in Kali Yuga. Although Kali Yuga is a degraded age, we have the full moon of Gaur Chandra appearing in this time, because of which the world has some hope, the ray of hope to awaken love for God even in the degraded age of Kali Yuga. Shri Shri Gaur Chandra ki, Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, Shri Jagannath Vasudhara Maharani ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Granthraja Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Nava Pushpasharam Nava Bhavadaram. You're going to show that? It will remain, no? Like that, yeah. The kartas? Here. Nava Gauravaram Nava Pushpasharam Nava Bhavadharam Navalasya Param. Navahasya-karam Navahemavaram Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram. Nava Premayutam Nava Nita Shucham Nava Veshakritam Nava Premarasam. Nava Veshakritam Nava Premarasam. Nava Ravinasa Chuva Premamayam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram. Karam Hari Nam Param. Hari Param Hari Nam Param. Karadapya Karam Hari Nam Param. Nayane Satatam Pranaya Shrudharam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram. Nayane तापहरं परमार्थ परायण लोकगतिं. नावलेहकरं जगतापहरं प्रणमामि सती भक्तिकरं प्रियचारुतरं नटनर्तननागर राजकुलं. complexion is the hue of fresh cream tinged with kumkum. He is the ever-fresh cupid who shoots arrows of newly blossoming flowers. He bears newer and newer moods of emotional ecstasies. He is fond of performing novel dances. He makes ever-new jokes that cause much laughter. His brilliant luster is like freshly cast gold. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Shachi. He is endowed with ever-fresh love of Godhead. His radiant luster is like the color of fresh butter. His fresh attire is arranged in ever-new fashions. He relishes the ever-new mellows of love for Krishna. He shines in ninefold the new ways. While executing the ninefold processes of devotion, he is permeated with the most auspicious loving nature. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Shachi. He is absorbed in devotion to Sri Hari. He maintains the chanting of the names of Hari. While chanting, he counts the holy names on the fingers in his hands. He is addicted to the name of Hari. He always has tears of love welling in his eyes. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Shachi. He is always removing the suffering of material existence for mankind. He is the goal of life for persons who are dedicated to their supreme interest. He inspires men to become like honeybees, eager for the honey of Krishna Prema. He removes the burning fever of the material world. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He who motivates pure devotion unto himself, who is most attractive to his beloved servitors. By his dramatic dancing, he exhibits the characteristics of the king of paramours. He causes the minds of the beautiful young village women to dance. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He plays katals as his throat emits sweet melodious sounds, and the vibrant notes of the veena are softly played. He thus inspires the devotees to perform dramatic dancing that is infused with the aspects of his own devotional service. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is accompanied by the Sankirtana movement, which is the religious practice for the age of Kali. He is the son of Nanda Maharaj come again. He is the extraordinarily brilliant ornament of the earth. His preaching mood is suitably adapted to the cycle of birth and death. His consciousness is fixed in meditation on his own form of Krishna. He is always accompanied by his transcendental abode. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. His eyes, the soles of his feet, and his clothing are reddish like the color that heralds the rising sun. As he utters his own names, his voice falters. He awakens the sweet flavor of life throughout the universe. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Shri Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.